Hey guys, so now we're into some gameplay. We're going to be looking at quite a lot of stuff here. So while we're at it, let's go ahead and do some pilot stuff. So, right here is your base. On the enemy side, there's an enemy base. I figure I'd just show it on this side. So on the inside, right here, you'll see a marker with an exclamation on the enemy base. When you get there, you can plant a bomb. You do that by holding circle. If we make it over there, I'll show it later in the video. If not, then yeah, that's how you do it. Just hold circle. It takes 10 seconds to plant. So if you have a minute and 10 seconds left, you can just barely get it off right when the game ends. If you have less than that, it takes 10 seconds to plant, and it takes a minute to explode, destroying the base. The number up at the top here is what you get for killing the enemy base. So it is, from the start, essentially the total score of your cost value of your team. So the rocket, pretty good. You can use it to stagger an enemy, which we'll show here in a second. But it's pretty good for taking people out. It's got a decent little AoE explosion. Pretty cool. Repair tool, we'll talk about that here in a second. Okay, so this, you can stagger a suit, which I'll show. But if you hit a person in the air, they'll fall down and land on the ground. If they're on the ground, they'll just kind of be staggered for a second. And then it takes 3 shots to kill somebody with this as a pilot. You also have, with triangle, a melee. It's kind of actually long and kind of weird, so you can actually get some pretty cheesy kills like this. Lastly, you do have a dodge roll. So, if you do the tutorial, you'll learn how to fly and boost around. So I won't really touch on that too much. Nothing too crazy there. But, one thing, your suit, if it's damaged, you can come here and crouch like this, and the base will repair. While you're in pilot, you can also repairing it faster. Anyway, let's get in the suit. Let's go cap a point and show off some of the weapons against a suit. But real quick, while talking about repair, one thing I will mention is if your legs are destroyed or really close to being to the point, if you boost, you'll fall over. If your legs are destroyed, you'll start to boost, and when you release the boost, you just fall over and have to stand back up. There's no iframes, there's no invulnerability at all. You literally are just vulnerable to getting shot while you're slowly getting back up. So you don't want to have that happen. That will happen sometimes in a game, but when that does happen, if you can get to safety, crouch, get out, and had a little lag spike there in the game. But when that does happen, just get out, repair the legs. Once you have 3 bars, you're safe. You'll kind of notice how it has it filled in there to tell the difference between what you got. So, now, with the pilot again, we'll go ahead and show this. You can stagger. Am I close enough? I might be close enough. There we go. So I can stagger. If you have the rocket, you can stagger and actually do a little bit of damage. I have gotten a few kills as a pilot. Pretty cool. Now, secondly, let's get a little closer. Probably could have flew over there, but let's just take a step like this. Okay, so now capturing a point. You can be hovering over it, and depending on the map, actually being on the ground is just asking for somebody to shoot and kill you. And then what can happen is they can jack your mobile suit. So these over here, you know, they're acting like they've got someone in it, but you would see an override button when you hold circle, and you can take somebody's mobile suit if you kill them. The amount of time it takes to respawn is too great, and you can take their suit. What happens when you take their suit is you'll see a counter over here ticking down. When it hits 0, the suit self-destructs, and if you're inside it, it will kill you. But what you want to do is you want to bail out right before it's going to explode so they can't just hop in it. Because if they hop back in it, it gets rid of the self-destruct counter. Now, looking at some weapons here, I chose this because it's got a little bit of everything, and I can show pretty much most of the mechanics and talk about the others that aren't on, well, this suit, and it makes pretty well sense. So one thing that they didn't really show in the tutorial, and I don't know if the advanced tutorial actually kind of showed you this, but you can weapon swap by holding R1 and going between weapons. You can change these in your customization window, and sometimes you want to change them up. There's a few suits where it'll have like the Vulcans on it, but then you have like some grenade launcher or something that does decent damage, and it's not on this list. So you play around with weapons. This is normally for higher cost suits. Again, this suit I'm showing is a 450. Like I recommended in the first steps after video, was kind of go for lower cost. The reason why I'm showing this though is it does have a little bit of everything, and we can talk basics and how the game works. So, this grenade launcher. Grenade launchers work kind of like bazookas. So what do you do in this game? You want to combo things together. So, we'll start with this. It staggers. Switch. Okay, I just messed that up. So, that can happen. You got to practice. I haven't practiced this one all that much. So here we go. We're getting a little practice in while I'm trying to help out. So anyway, switch. And then staggered into another stagger. Thing is, I shot a little too quick there, so it didn't stagger him again. So that's actually awesome that happened. The other thing is, sometimes if you hit a shield, you won't get the effect of a stagger. So let's try it again. 1, switch, and 2. Hit the shield. Maybe that's what I did the first time. I guess I didn't see it. If I did, cool. If I didn't, then there you go. That's another example. So let's try this. If you fully charge a beam, the beam will stagger. So with this one, switch to this. It takes too long to charge. So this isn't how you want to combo. So when you're trying your suits out, come into a practice round like this and try to combo your shots together. Specifically for something like, well, literally the gun cannon here. What you want to do is you want to hit with the cannons and then you shoot the beam. Because the cannons will make them stagger long enough that you can shoot the beam. Now, if you're fighting a general type like this, they can do a dodge roll. So as they're staggered, they got a chance there to do a dodge roll, and that'll give them iframes. So as you see down here around the health bar, when I either tackle or dodge roll, you see that little white? That means I'm invulnerable. I can't take any damage. You'll see nothing but zeros. So let's try a little combo here on the gun cannon. 1, 2, swing, swing. That's a pretty basic little combo. Also, while this is down, you could charge this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dash. And then get that last hit in. So, there's a basic combo. Now, I'll break that down here in a second. So, I already covered the dodge roll. One thing I want to talk about real quick is something called maneuver armor. A lot of raid types have maneuver armor. General types have the dodge roll. There's really nothing that support types have. So, when you're staggering a support type, typically they don't have any escape out of it unless they're going to try to tackle. That's about their only option. I'm a support main. I feel the pain. It does happen. But we have a lot of damage. We have a lot of range. So we do have options to deal with people before it gets to this situation. And it's a team game. So you gotta have some teamwork going on. So, maneuver armor, the way it works essentially is if you shoot them, they have a certain threshold that they just don't worry about when they're coming at you. So if you shot a cannon and I had maneuver armor, pretty much it does nothing to me and I can get up to you and melee you to death. Say if I was a raid with maneuver armor. So, you got to be aware of this. Figure out which suits have it, which suits don't. It kind of is weird though. Now, the thing is when you hit directly, you're supposed to try to penetrate some of that, but a lot of suits like the Efreet Doug Schneid will go ahead and they have maneuver armor, and they'll take the shot, and they'll get to you, and then they'll just eat your face with their, is it a heat lance axe, whatever it's called? I can't remember what the actual name is, but yeah, look it up. Efreet Duckschneid. It's kind of scary for a support type. Just saying. Now, so comboing. So typically you have something that takes a little while to ready up. That's really quick. You can see that's a lot slower. And then you have your melee combo. This suit has 2 melees. A lot of raids will actually have 3 melees. So, how do you do your melees? Well, in this case, I'm going to do either just a neutral, or you can do it while walking forward. You know, same kind of slash. Now, the second type is you can go right or left. Okay? And we'll go ahead and do that in the reverse, left or right. And then lastly, we have our downswing. You can do forward or neutral, right or left, and then you end with the downswing, because you can't do anything else once you do a downswing. And notice how it takes so long? You want to cancel that after. If you don't have a boost, you can't cancel your downswing animation, and you're stuck. See, I can't move. I can't do anything. So what you want to do is that's your last hit. And every downswing will not... Beam Naginata. I'm bad with it. Seriously though, it does take a little practice getting used to this. But every downswing... Well, that one's knocked down permanently. Okay, is this one gonna die? But every downswing knocks someone down. So, if they are, then cool. If not, then yeah. But see, I couldn't move. So, what you want to do is your last combo. You'll, once you get to the melee portion of it, iframes are down, then dash back to cancel it. You can dash forward, and then get that last melee in. Some suits are fast enough to where you can do 1, 2, dash back, dash forward, 1, 2. And you can actually get 4 hits in. Now, I mentioned the Duckschneid. That Efreet actually has the ability to knock everybody down with its melees in general. So, again, combos. What you're going to do, go into a match and test things out. So for instance, the gun cannon here, it's got its cannons and it's got its beam rifle. Again, its combo is literally cannon to stagger somebody. That way they're held in place, and you shoot the beam rifle. Now, when you can aim and shoot things, where do you want to aim? Okay, so the head can be destroyed. As you can see here, we have a head damage meter, and we have a leg damage meter. In space, you have a back damage meter, essentially, for instead of legs. So, what's the back and legs for? It's for getting around. In space, if your back is destroyed, it is devastating. You move really slow, like if your legs are destroyed. So this is normal walking speed. Like, here we go. That's what it looks like when your legs are destroyed. This is how fast you go. You know, instead of this. Like, it's really slow. I have to really put a little tension on the stick just to get this. But this is about how it feels when your legs are destroyed to get around. You know, and everybody else is boosting like this. And if you boost at all, you just fall over on the ground again and have that slow stand up. So, don't really want to get your legs destroyed, but that means you do want to destroy someone else's. So, if you have a targeted thing where it's wherever you're aiming, shoot for the legs. You know, and we'll go ahead and throw some shots here. Let's see how many. Come on. He's gotta be hurting. I hope I don't kill him first. There we go. There we go. We can tell his legs are destroyed. So we'll go ahead and kill both of these, and we'll talk about the next thing. Certain weapons, I will say this, are better than others at destroying legs and parts. They'll typically say that on their little description, and you can use those, play around with them. That beam rifle on the gun cannon is great at destroying legs. That is my go-to for legging people. So, let's see. I will say I do have a list that I'm trying to go through here. So, again, I covered the weapon swapping. Setting those up. I talked about the ship repairing, but I don't think I fully went into detail of repairing the legs. I talked about that. The other thing is, too, when do you want to get out and repair? So, the thing is, when you're out, you're vulnerable. You die, somebody can just sit there and wail on your suit, and your suit's going to die, probably. So, the only times I repair, there's really 2 times, and there is a third, but that's in a game type called Ace Match, and that'll be its own video talking about how that works and the importance of playing the mechanics of that match. So we have the base over there. You can go get healed really quickly, low cost. This is really fast and gets done really easily. Higher cost, not really as effective. So if your legs are destroyed or near destroyed and you can fall back for a second, that's the first time. The only other time that I repair is when we've completely destroyed the enemy team and they're aced and they're dead. All of them are dead. Then you can all jump out, repair your suits. Now, we got something called artillery in a basic match, so they can call in artillery. So, when artillery is called in, you'll see a big red text, enemy is called for support fire or something like that, I think is what it says. So, when you're jumping in your suit, as you can see, you got iframes, and then you can tackle if you notice that there's explosions going on around you. And normally you're safe for the entire thing. That is how you avoid dying to artillery. And I'll go ahead and show you, since we've already captured this point, we can go ahead and get some artillery going. So, this is artillery. You request support, and we'll see the opposite, it'll be blue text. And we'll go ahead, actually we'll call it in right here next to us. So, you can see this little orange area on the mini-map up in the top, and I'm currently in it. So, here it comes, I'm getting in, I got my iframes, I'm not taking any damage, I'll tackle. And yes, artillery can hurt you. I'll show that here later, probably near the end. So, we have 4 points in this map. Each one will have a time limit when you can shoot artillery. As you can see, now we got 215 seconds before that one's ready to go. The next thing I kind of want to talk about is, well, boost management. Let's go ahead and talk about that. So, boosting around, you can see your bar here at the bottom. When you dodge roll or tackle, you use it all up. So, you got to wait for it to come back. But not only boost management and making sure you are not running it into the red, like you can boost right up until I forgot how long that thing takes to actually fill up. And then you can slow it down and maybe get a tackle. You can also bait people's melees because they think you've run out of boost. And speaking of baiting melees, you can also bait people's tackles. So, one of the things you learned in the tutorial, if you've done that, is how to counter. So when somebody's going to melee you, you tackle them, and you get the counter. Also, as you can see, tackles do some damage. If you have type advantage, which I'll go into next, you can actually get a decent amount of damage, because that was 500, I'm at disadvantage, even 600, and I'll probably hit 700 if I go over there to the raid type. So, when you have any kind of boost, you can sometimes get over some obstacles. So, let's walk at this rock. Okay, this suit actually has some decent ability to get up, but there are some spots you can't get up. But if I boost, I can get over it sometimes. So, when you're going around and trying to traverse the map, use your boost. Use your boost to get through. True statement. So, down here, this is another good example. You know, it's kind of hard to get up these, but if you boost in certain spots, you can get up them really easy. Now that one I think you can just walk up. But using boost on certain rock ledges will get you over them. this is very effective in slower, lower cost suits, such as using, like, say, the Zaku cannon, or even like just a normal GM Kai, anything like that. Now, let's see. Oh, real quick. Speaking of Zaku cannon, there is smoke on it. So one of his things pops smoke, and you'll just see this kind of like kind of thing, and it makes a nice little noise. What that does is it does a couple of things. It ups your defense. So down here, you can see your defense, attack, and speed go up or down. When you crouch, you get plus attack and defense. And it's even higher when you're fully prone. The downside is you're prone and you got to get up like this. Now, if you're fully prone, you can't do a tackle. But if you're like this, you can tackle out of it. If you're fully prone, though, you pretty much can't get stunned. So, speaking of stun and stagger, typically the meta is used with a rocket, and then you melee. So that's most general types. You shoot a rocket. In this case, we're going to simulate it with a grenade. Rocket to stagger, melee, 2 times, knock the person over, dash back up, melee again. That's your full combo. If you have a team and you're going to be working together, though, you can stagger somebody, then back off, let them come in and stagger them again. Then when they're low, you get them down, knock them down, and then have both of you all go in and finish them off. So, notice when they're standing up, they have iframes. When your teammate knocks you down, your iframes last less than the enemies if they knock an enemy down at the same time. So be aware of this. So you might have to tackle if you're on like 2 health and they're on 2 health. You might have to tackle early just to make sure you're not going to die. And that's just one of the things you're going to have to get used to, is playing around the iframes. So a lot of the times this is kind of fighting mechanics, which kind of brings me back to my next point, is something called melee priority. Melee priority at sometimes can be a lot of BS. It can be very annoying, and it just is annoying. As a support, you pretty much have the lowest melee priority. So, if this suit was kicking me right now, because it kicks for its melee, it does a Sparta kick, I always go, this is Gundam. But if it was meleeing me, and I was meleeing like that, it would take damage and fall over, and I would get kicked, and I would have 0 damage to me. That's what melee priority is. So, raids typically have the highest melee priority, generals second, and then supports last. It's kind of weird when you both hit each other that you both don't take damage, but that's just pretty much how the game works. So that's kind of an annoying point. Back to touching up on the smoke, though. The other thing, if I didn't say it, if they do have the smoke little, it kind of makes that noise. I'll probably be showing it off if I do when I do my support video, I'll definitely be showing off the Zaku cannon for the lower cost for sure. So the smoke ups your defense, and it gets rid of the health bar that you're seeing above enemies. So supports are necessary in games because they have something called a data uplink. And that little health bar there is above everybody at all times when you have a data uplink. Again, you'll definitely see this in the support video that I'm going to make, but that's pretty much the main concept. Real quick, while we've got some artillery, and this is one reason why you pretty much want to support on the team, period. Not just mechanically for what they do, but because of what they bring with, say, the data uplink. So, now, I don't know if it's going to actually kill me because it was my artillery, but this should leave me on 1 health. So any friendly artillery will leave you with 1 health. I mean, you've got 1 health, so you can really die. But, yeah, you can do that and kind of do a suicide run to have them get killed. So, let's see. Covered crouching, boosting up hills, talked some pilot stuff. We'll go plant the bomb here in a minute. Talked about tackling and how to counter. That was in the practice. That's just going to take some time. And I will say this, the tackling can be some BS too. This is one reason it's kind of due to lag. So you're playing an online game. It's kind of like fighting mechanics. If you've ever played a fighting game, and also, here, we'll hop in so you can see it auto healing there. You can also just crouch next to it. And once you're stationary next to it, you're recovering. So, and it says recovery there. But again, this kind of runs on fighting mechanics, essentially, where it's peer-to-peer. If you've ever played a fighting game, there are certain moves that are just unsafe. Well, one of the unsafe combos that you can do, and here it is tackle, and then you go straight into a melee. Now, to be honest, I don't actually know if this is safe in a land situation where there is hardly any lag at all, but you can pull this off in a game, and it can be pretty effective. I would say use this as your last resort when you have no other options and you're pretty much stuck with, oh no, I'm gonna die. Boom, tackle. Now hopefully I at least get this melee off, because you're probably gonna die at that point if you're ever gonna use this tactic. That would be the situation you would want to use it, because it is very risky. If they get to counter you by tackling back, and normally a support for sure is going to tackle back against, because that's all they can do at that point. And if they get it, they just countered you and you're on the ground. So be careful with that one. The other thing is to bait out their tackle. So, you run up with the melee weapon and then they tackle you. Well, now they don't have anything to do. They can't, like for a general, they can't dodge roll. For support, they're just a sitting duck at that point. And then you just melee them and have fun. So, let's talk type advantage. If you've been noticing here, I've been doing different damages to different things. So, support beats general. I'm a general. So I deal less damage to supports, they deal more damage to me. So, to shoot it, 1,544. Here's a general type. We do the same amount of damage to each other. It's neutral. 1,955. Now, let's go over here to the raid type. And you'll see some decent damage here. 2,635. Now, another thing you get to do with a lot of beam weapons is charge it up. Now, a lot of projectile stuff, machine guns, you just shoot, pew, 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 pew. A lot of fun. So, now I get more damage, and I get a stagger out of it. So, beam weapons are pretty cool. You got an overheat gauge right here. So, this one has 55% of your gauge per shot. So, if I shot 2 times really fast, then I could overheat myself. So I wait for it to be past 50, there you go. So that's what you want to do a lot of times. Anything that has a lot of beams that you can switch between, beam, 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 switch, beam, 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 switch, right before the overheat, you can keep that going, you can keep a lot of damage output. Certain things though, like this, just fire once and then are overheated, and you gotta wait. There are parts that will help the overheat rate so that it essentially reloads faster. Let's see. So type advantage is a big deal. Raids do a ton of damage to supports when they get on them. They are really scary for people. So let's go. Let's see. Leg shots, talked about that. So skills. Let's talk a little bit about skills. So I already talked about maneuver armor. That is a skill. When you go to select your suit, you can go to the skills section and see what they're talking about there. So one thing that this has is called force injector, I think is what it is. And what that does is while you're boosting, you can cancel that boost and immediately go to the left. So I'm going to go left, right real quick. Left, right. And see, I just dodge rolled into it because I tapped so fast. But you saw me start to go left, and then I canceled it for the right. Now I'm going to have it a little bit delayed. Left, right. See? Because like if you look, left and then right. That would be what a support typically has to do, because you have, well, you don't have force injector, so it allows you to kind of cancel that. The maneuver, the dodge roll, it's the emergency maneuver. That's pretty cool. Then you have stuff like gliding. You will see suits that can jump and like kind of hover down. It's kind of crazy. Stuff like the GPO2 that you would see on the start screen, it can actually boost while in the air, which is kind of cool. Haven't really found a use for it yet on any types of suits that I played that have that, but I mean, it's cool, I guess. I'm sure somebody's gonna pull some crazy play off and be like, whoa, yeah. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about basic team comp real quick, just because when you go into a game, people are going to expect some things probably. So typically in a 5v5, you have 3 generals, 1 support, and 1 raid. The raid deals with the support, the generals deal with the raid, the support supports and provides radar, essentially. Well, the data uplink, so you can see everybody's health bars behind buildings, etc. Now, there are some suits that have stealth. You have the Ifrit Noct, you have the Pixie, which we're getting to start off with. So you can have some fun being a ninja mobile suit if you want. And then you have the Akai, which is the funny one. Or as I like to call it, the Waddle. Thunderbolt made it cool, and this made it silly again. So, yeah. Thanks, game. Now, again, check your skills, read them, figure out what they do. If you have any questions, again, hop in my Discord, come to chat, ask somebody. There's plenty of people that can help. So we have bomb planting. I'll go do that. So we'll start heading that way. Capturing points. So typically, obviously you can capture points and you can spawn in. So if I died and I needed to spawn in on here, I can spawn in on A. Well, the thing is why I say that and why I made a note of it. Typically, if you're a raid or a general, you're going to capture the point because supports are a bit slower. So you can get here first, you can get out and cap. But this point, you're going to get here about the same time they get over there. So typically what you want to do is you want to hide your mobile suit behind a building so that it can't get hit or it gets hit as minimally as possible. I think over here, this is a pretty good spot. I even see some people crouching and getting out over here because it's a bit safer. It is kind of a long trek to get over to C, but once you get to it, especially in a map where they can definitely see you, get into some cover where they can't really kill you, capture the point. If you're standing here and they manage to shoot this wall right here, you're probably dead. And then your suit's a sitting duck while you're waiting to come back. So be aware of where the enemy is when you're capturing points, but capturing is a big deal. This, you know, you could have the support of the enemy team right here, and say you had a stealth suit, go capture B. Well, now your raid can drop and kill that support that's giving your team trouble. So, you know, you got some crazy tactics you can pull off sometimes. Which again, if I just said the stealth suit, then that's probably the raid already going for it. But anyway, so as you can see, here's the exclamation, just like firing artillery. You can see it, and you come in and you plant the bomb. Now, one thing you got to be aware of when you're defusing the bomb is there are a couple of things like requesting a mobile suit and planting a bomb, or requesting a mobile suit and firing artillery. Make sure it's plant bomb or request a mobile suit. That is one thing I wish they would change, which is one of the big issues that I have a lot of times. I go to like defuse a bomb and, well, I call in a mobile suit, and then the guy who's out here, you know, whatever, he's like, oh, free kill, right? Which, I mean, I'm probably going to defuse the bomb, but, you know, they can, you know, if there's like 2 or 3 guys outside the base, then they can kill you. So that's the thing. Let's see. The data uplink, just in case I didn't say this with the smoke. Sorry if I did. It is a little late. It's like almost 5 in the morning. But the smoke on, say, the Zaku cannon does get rid of your health bar that shows where you're at from the data uplink. So let me just kind of go through the list here, and we should be able to wrap it up. I think I've covered pretty much just about everything I could think of. I will say bases, if they die, they can win games. That is a legit thing to do. Now, the big decision is when you do that, your team is down a player. So it is kind of risky, but the thing is, if you can draw 2 people to you, then they're down a player essentially, and you're getting the plant. Now, a couple of things you can do, which I don't have an actual grenade, but you can lob a grenade in, and that went through. But you can lob a grenade in and shoot and actually kill the pilot with artillery, bazookas, grenades, and you can actually get the kill. So you'll have to practice and kind of get that. Maybe find a friend to come into a custom and just kind of practice lobbing grenades in here to get that kill. Secondly, there's a lot of places in here for a pilot to hide. You can hide back here, you can hide up here, and you can third person see where they're at. You see them fly in, they go for the defuse, you stun them, and then you kill them, or you just bazooka them if you have that ready to go. You've got so many options. It really does take about 2 people to defend. Now, if you're in the case of somebody planting the bomb on you, you can turn, you can go, and instead of turning, you just go and mow down the enemy team and then get even further ahead. If you're able to do that, then that's going to be the play, because then the bomb plant is just a distraction. They're down a guy and you get an even bigger lead. So we talked type advantage, skills. Again, read the skills. Leg shots, you always want to get the leg shots. Get the back shots in space. You destroy the back, pretty devastating. Leg buffer armor is a pretty good thing. I don't know when you get it. I will be going over custom parts in another video, but that'll be definitely on the list of things that you definitely want to try to get. Basic team comp, we've already covered that. 3 generals, 1 raid, 1 support. Even in a 6v6, 4 generals, 1 raid, 1 support. Now in 6v6, for me personally, I don't mind having 2 supports, 3 generals, and 1 raid. That's not the worst team comp, in my opinion. So again, you're playing an online game, have fun, play what you want. If people are too upset at you, it's better, if you're really trying to just win, it's better to play what you're good at than to play to the meta. For me, I'm not the best general type player or even the best raid player. I'm meh on a lot of the suits that are general and raid. But I know my supports, so I stick with them most of the time. If there's even 3 or 4 supports on a team, that's been some of my best games. So, but that's the basic team comp, and that's the basic meta comp right now. We talked about boosting and how you can get over some mountains, like, that rock, not that one, but, like boosting up this, it's really hard to walk, but if you boost, you can get up on top of it really easy. There's a perfect example. That's kind of what I wanted to do with that other hill. So, artillery, we talked about that. It appears on your screen. If it's friendly, you can be left with 1 health. So you can kind of suicide yourself into that and be in a pretty rough situation after. But, again, at that point, I probably wouldn't repair. Your legs are on full health. Just poke as much as you can, get as much damage as you can, and then get a new suit out. Yes, it is a death, but the thing is, if you're sitting there repairing, you're essentially taking yourself out of the game a lot longer than it would be for you to come back with a fresh suit. Again, gauge it depending on what your score is too, but, that's always an option. Combos. Work on your combos. Figure out which weapons have the timers. Each suit has its own combo. I can try to go suit to suit at some point. That will take me some time to get to those, but if you have any suits that you want help with, hop in the Discord, tell me, and I'll try to make a video on the suit. And if it's not something that I'm really comfortable with, I'll see what I can do, get somebody who is comfortable with, get some combos, and get it going. Like, I know most of the suits because I fought a lot of raids, but I haven't played a lot of them. And that's one thing I will say. Play at least the suit once or twice. When you learn its combo, you know how to counter it. I just got the G-Line Assault today, so I tried it. Now, the next game, I played against one. I was in a Dom Barrage. He was getting close to me, but I knew his limit for his range on his shotgun, how much ammo he had to fire at me, and everything else. And I was able to kite him just enough to get that kill and save myself, even though he's a raid and I was a support. So, you definitely want to try a variety. Definitely want to have some fun. Go into some quick matches. Find some custom games. Play around somehow. I mean, even go into practice. The little bots, they're, you know, they'll shoot at you and stuff, but I mean, they're okay. They're not bad. So capturing points, you can gain a tactical advantage for capturing points. You know, you've got the bell out, right? You can bell out. When you're about to die, you can bell out. You'll have iframes for just a second. They'll see the iframes. You'll be very clear at that point, so expect them to come after you. So, that's something I didn't cover real quick. This is why I'm going back through the list. So, when you're down on the ground, you can dodge roll like this to get the iframes, right? Well, you can capture the point by just dodge rolling. If they're walking around you, and I'll show you that, what they'll be doing, you can sometimes live long enough to capture a point. And what they'll be doing is this little maneuver. Just literally moving the stick around in a circle and trying to get you in there like crisscross, and if you get tapped, you're dead, right? The other thing though is if somebody is dodging too many of your, you know, walking in circles, you can just time it. Oh, they tackled, boom, they're dead. So you just time it when their iframes are not up. So let's see, where was I in that list? Crouching. Oh, combos. Okay, that's where I was at. Combos, capturing points. There we go. So we talk combos. Figure out your combos. Again, I'll show you this little combo, and we'll just do the melee combo. Stagger, 1. We'll go for the knockdown. Missed, but you come back, reset, swing, and then if you can get a 4th, you can do that. And here, I'll just do it. There we go. Whoops. Okay, I missed that one. But you get the point. You cancel your downswing with that. Now, if they're the only enemy around and you've got some friendlies nearby and they can take advantage, downswing them, knock them down. You know, you'll be stuck in the animation like this, but then your teammates come in and clean up. Now, again, be aware, you can knock your teammates down. There is friendly fire stagger in this game. So anything that staggers, you can stagger your teammate with that. You can stagger your teammate with this. So be careful. Especially when firing rockets, cannons, anything like that. That's something I didn't really cover. I will definitely be covering that in the support section because I hit a few too many teammates, which, you know, you just say, sorry, where's it at? There it is. And it's all good, right? Sorry, man. I'm sorry I shot you. But, anyway, bomb planting, talked about that. You got plenty of places to hide. A lot of times if 2 people come back, it's definitely worth to take that pressure off your team. It's worth a lot of points. It can catch you up. It's kind of a Hail Mary type play a lot of times. But sometimes if you're already in the lead and you can get a bomb plant, it's even further in the lead. And it's actually a pretty cool thing. One thing that they probably won't be talking about, and this is just kind of a random thing, is if you don't deploy in a suit after 30 seconds, or it's 40 total. It's either 30 total or 40 total. Anyway, there's a 10-second countdown saying, warning, they're about to have control of the battlefield. If you don't have a suit out moving around, when that happens, the enemy will get they'll get points equal to your entire team's total score every 10 seconds. So be aware of that. That's pretty much they put that in to cancel out a tactic that people were doing where they would plant a bomb and stuff, get an advantage, and go just not drop out in suits anymore. We talked about dodge rolling and maneuver armor. We talked about repairing. Again, I believe there's only 2 times to repair. When your legs need to be fixed, or when there's complete downtime and there's no enemies up. That's pretty much it. Now, there are rare cases where you can go back to the base and plop down and repair, but again, if you're out of the fight too long, you're essentially AFKing just to get your suit back. Weapon swapping, and we talked about that. I don't think they really covered this in the tutorial, but that's how you get these combos off. You get used to the weapon swap. 1 swap, 2 swap, 1, 2 dash, dash, melee, and there you go. So typically you can't get that 4th one off, but you know, if you can, cool. Some suits can, some suits can't. Depends on how fast and which direction they swing. One last thing I want to mention that I almost forgot is shields. So I did kind of point out that I was hitting the shield. So shields take a bit of damage, and when you hit the shield, they can block that stagger. So they didn't get staggered when that hit the shield. So here we go. There we go. Now when the shield blows up, you get staggered. But what also happens is your speed goes up when you lose your shield. And also shields, you know, like I said, block staggers and block a lot of damage actually. So if this guy was right here and I wanted to retreat, I'll retreat at an angle to where my shield is in front. It's a little weird at first because of course you kind of want to turn the camera and retreat back so you might be able to get a shot, but getting that extra shield protection is pretty nice. Again, remember when it blows up though, you get staggered, so be aware and be careful where you're at. If you get staggered, you could always try to do a dodge roll to get away. Again, it overheats your boosters, but that's the thing. Another mechanic that I would like to quickly point out, which I don't have something that really can show this, but let's see, does this actually stagger after a certain point? Nope. Okay, probably not going to have that, but when you have something that has a constant rate of fire, like 100 millimeter or something like that, you can shoot till you hit a stagger threshold. So in the case of this beam, you just stagger them when it hits. But certain weapons will cause stagger pretty quickly. For instance, again with something low cost, we're talking like 100 millimeter, the MMP 80, the Zaku machine gun. After a little bit, and they do show this I believe in the tutorials, you'll see a stagger after I think shooting one of the beam pistols. I can't remember which one it is, but that's one of the things you can do. You can shoot till they're staggered, then combo into some kind of melee thing. Remember though what I did there, always switch your melee first or whatever weapon so that the ready up time is being calculated while you're tackling. So when you're done, there you go. If you're also in a cannon, which again I'll cover in support, just one last thing here, you can tackle and then fire. And wherever you're aiming, you'll instantly turn and snap to that direction. Now a couple of suits, like one we're going to get, is the Zammel. It just kind of has to have its gun arc over, so if you try to do that, it'll just shoot straight up in the air and I guess fire at something in space. This is why we do not eyeball it, just saying. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Hopefully I covered pretty much most of the basics of strategy and every little detail I could think of in the game. Sorry if some of that was redundant. I know I'm repeating myself a bit, but it is about 5 a.m. and I wanted to get this out, at least this one. The next videos will be, and I plan to do this tomorrow morning. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I think of the state of the game as far as some of the microtransactions, how that works, and how the box system works. I will say this though, I am a completely free-to-play player up until maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I might actually drop some money on it since I will be able to, but we'll see what happens. Other than that, yeah, I was completely free to play because I couldn't spend money on it up to this point. And again, that'll be its own video. I'll talk about that. Then tomorrow I'm going to have at least the general raid and support videos up, and I'll try to cover the ace match game type. They do have something, I will mention this, simple battles on weekends. They're just kind of fun little stuff. Well, I think it's simple battle and shuffle is technically the weekend battles. So they're kind of little fun things. Check them out if you want. Just have fun. Pick whatever. Kind of a YOLO thing. So yeah, that's pretty much that. But anyway, if I've missed anything or there's any other tips that you could think of that would be a basic thing, go ahead and put it down in the comments below. Hopefully this helps some people. Anyway, I'm going to bed. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Peace.